Hey everyone, and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Hobart, Tasmania. And today I can actually call it sunny Hobart because it's glorious sunshine outside my window. I actually managed to get a little bit of sunshine today, which was really nice after being stuck inside for a long time. Anyway, just bear with me. I'm going to make sure my iPad is caught up. Okay, it is. So I can see a couple of people have signed on already. Hey Kathy, hey Hannah, and hey Renee, thanks for joining me. And Margie, hello, hi Margie. I'm going to just tag a friend in this, just bear with me for a moment, who has trouble finding me when I go live. So I'm just going to tag her in this, just so she can find me. Unless she has already, I can't see. Anyway, just bear with me for a second. Sorry about this. Take that away. Okay, so and Sharon, you with us as well. Hey Sharon. Okay, so today I'm going to feature the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle, which is really a nice new product which I got to order in pre-order. It's actually available to customers from the 2nd or 3rd of June. I keep getting those 2 days mixed up, but from the 2nd of June, as a demonstrator I get to pre-order, which is one of the big perks of being a demonstrator. So I've got a couple of cards I'd like to show you, including this one here is our first one. And I really wasn't sure about this stamp set, to be honest. Sometimes you can recognise that a stamp set is going to be good in other people's hands, but you really can't be sure that you're going to manage it yourself. But hopefully I've come across some techniques here that will appeal, because I think I actually quite like both of the cards that I'm showing you today. So just bear with me. I'm just tagged that friend and make sure she knows where to find me, and then we'll keep going. Alright, so as I said, the Celebrate Sunflowers, it's a new stamp set to customers on the 2nd of June in the new catalogue. Unless you would like to join my team or join Stampin' Up, sign up with my team, you can order this one as part of your starter kit or in pre-order as a demonstrator. So keep that in mind if you think, oh, I need that right now. Okay, so let's get started. This card here, as I say, is the one I'm going to be starting with. It's got this big, beautiful sunflower here, which I think is probably the focal image of the whole set. But it's got some nice little background ones as well, which is really good. So I do actually introduce to you, as part of this, one of the new in colours. So every 12 months, Stampin' Up introduce 5 new colours, which just sort of basically hang around for the year. And then they get replaced by, or 2 years, and then they get replaced the next year by some new colours. So it just keeps everything fresh and fresh and new. This particular one is called Bumblebee. It's sort of a mustard, not quite mustard, but sort of a towards mustard sort of yellow. It's not a sort of bright yellow by any stretch. It's sort of earthy, and that's what I think you can probably guess with all the in colours this time around. They've got some sort of earthy aspect to them. So this is my standard Bumblebee card base. It's 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4, and I've scored it in the middle just for a normal 4 by 6 sort of card. Then I have a panel of Whisper White. I actually have 2 panels of Whisper White, just 1/8 of an inch smaller than the first one, than the card base, and one for inside, just like that, and one for the outside, which is where we're going to do our stamping. Plus I've got a few bits and pieces that I'll bring in shortly as well. So we'll just keep the one that we're going to stamp with. So what I'm going to do is grab this really cute little sunflower here, which is sort of, as I mentioned, sort of a background image. Hey Sally, you found us, great. Okay, so just this little background image, and I'm just going to use that just to create a background for our card. So just in black ink, and I'm just going to sort of stamp it around sort of randomly, making sure I rotate my stamp. So when you're making these sorts of backgrounds, it's important to rotate your stamp so it just gives it a little bit of interest, makes it look a bit different as it's going around. So I'm just stamping just 5 or 6 images around, rotating our stamp, bringing it in there, and then another one up in here. So as I say to you guys, when you're stamping your images like this, make sure you're stamping on something that you don't mind getting a little bit inky. So the grid paper is really, really good for that sort of thing. So I suggest if you haven't got that, that you pop in an order for some grid paper. I would be lost without it. So we've got 5 or 6 of those little sunflowers. I'm losing my words today. Might not have been a good day to go live, I think. I usually go Friday. Maybe that would have been better. So I'm just going to fill in some of those gaps with this little leaf. There's just a little leaf here on the stamp set, just a single one. I'm just going to pop that around in the gaps just to fill it in a little bit. I don't like blank space, as you guys probably know. I like to fill in the blanks like I do with my conversations. Again, rotating it around, just filling in the spaces. Yeah, like that. So I have left a bit of a gap here, but that's okay because I'm actually going to be bringing in the big image there and fill in that space as well. So no need to stamp anything there because we've got a gap to fill. Okay, so I might just bring in, so I've coloured these images with my blends. So these are the stamping blends, but you could use watercolour pencils, you could use ink, you could use markers, you can use whatever you want. So the centre of our little sunflowers, I'm using dark crumb cake, but any sort of brown would do. I could, and on an earlier version of this card I did actually do the blending with the dark and the light. I won't bother with that at the moment, although it is really effective. I won't bother because the stamp set actually has dark and light already put in there for you, really. When you think about it, it's got the dots there, and then there's a gap between the dots, and then it's darker in the middle with dark as well. So it actually does the light and dark for you without too much trauma. So I'm going to do my centres with the crumb cake. And I won't colour all these in. You might have caught a glimpse. I've already got one coloured already, so I'll bring that in a second once I've given you an idea. Forgive that loud car if you heard it. Must have been the Sunday afternoon rush outside my window. For the sunflowers themselves, I'm going to use dark, so saffron. You could brighten it with something a little bit brighter if you like, so use a Daffodil Delight or something like that. But I like saffron. I think it's a nice yellow. One of my favourite colours. So just do the leaves. Again, you could bring in your light and your dark and bring in some shading, but because I'm forcing you guys to watch me, I won't bother with that. How is everybody today? Who have we got on? Oh, Marie. Hey, thanks for joining me, Marie. Hope everyone's having a lovely weekend. I've been working from home in my day job for just on 10 weeks now, so a little bit stir crazy. If I didn't have my card making, I think I'd probably be absolutely absolutely lost. So it has been, I joke that it's my therapy, so it has definitely been my therapy the last 10 weeks or so. I don't know if anyone else is working from home, but it definitely can get quite overwhelming. Okay, so the leaves, including these big ones, I'm using dark old olive. So just colouring those in with dark old olive, and the little leaves on the sunflowers as well. I'm going to call them daisies. I know I am. I know they're not daisies, but it's going to be a slip of the tongue eventually. So that's dark old olive there. So I won't colour in anymore. You can get the sort of the idea of travelling around that card and doing those colours. So here is one that I have coloured already. Here we go. So that's our little sunflowers and our leaves. There we go. So that's all done. So what I have also stamped and already die cut, so I've stamped this one in the black again and also die cut it, is this beautiful big sunflower. So that's pretty special. That's quite large. That's probably a whole card front on itself there. So I've done that in black, and I'm going to just colour that in the same colours that we've just mentioned. So in the crumb cake, the so saffron, and yeah, because there's no leaves, the crumb cake and the so saffron. So I'll just do this quick. There we go. You can tell the really talented colourers when you look at the cards for this one in Pinterest and on the website and everything. They do make them so artistic. They actually look like they're jumping out the page at you. So I might have to do a little bit of practice before I get that good. So I'm just going to do, as I say, just with the so saffron, just colouring in all the leaves. I won't do any shading. I've actually got 2 cards to show you with this stamp set if there's time and if everyone wants to hang around and watch. The second one I just sort of popped together while I was sitting here waiting for 3 o'clock to roll around, so I think it's quite nice. So if you hang around to the end, I've got a second card to show you. Now this card we're doing today is actually one that I'm going to feature in my first back at home class, my first in-home classes in June, first week of June. I've got a couple of classes scheduled. So thankfully the government has increased the number of people we're allowed in our homes. So I'm capping my classes to four people with around our big table. I've got enough room for everyone to be 1.5 meters apart with 4 people here. So anyone who lives locally in Hobart, if you'd like to sort of pop onto my Facebook page and have a look at those events, I'd be very, very welcome for you to pop along. Anyone who lives in southern Tasmania or the Hobart area, there's still a few seats remaining, and I'm going to be doing this card plus a couple of other cards with other sets that are available during pre-order. So it's actually a make and take we're doing. So you get to do 3 cards for $20, which isn't too bad. You couldn't buy 3 cards for $20 if you went into the shop. So please, as I say, if you live locally, pop onto my page and pick a day that suits you. There we go. Enough selling. I've finished that colouring in. What's it? Christy Nielsen. Yes, I love, yeah, I do. I think I'm actually, Christy says she loves this stamp set. I actually am getting to love it too. So hopefully by the next few months I'll learn how to use it more effectively. So there we are. So there's our big, beautiful sunflower there. Okay, so we'll bring back in our card base and our pre-stamped and coloured page there. So all we're basically going to do now is glue this little one down. So I can see I've got a fair few on now. So say hi when you come on, guys, and tell me where you're from. And definitely I'll press that notification sign so you can know when I'm going live in the future. Okay, so we've got that panel onto our bumblebee card base. Okay, then I'm going to do, oh, I did it again. Then I'm going to bring in, I've got 3 leaves. So these are the leaves, this one here, the leaf that we did here, but I've actually coloured these and die cut them out. So I've got 3 leaves. I'm going to just pop around there just to give a bit of volume. And then I've got our beautiful sunflower. So I'm going to pop our sunflower up on some dimensionals just to give him a bit of height. I've got some last few dimensionals there. So I'm just going to pop a couple on just for demonstration purposes. It doesn't have to be too many dimensionals involved. I'm going to pop him on there, and then I'm going to put those little leaves around the edge of it, and then I'm going to bring in some bling and a sentiment. I'm just going to pop him on there, just so that there's not too much space around him. There we go. And then with some glue, I'm just going to pop these other little leaves sort of half in and half out from underneath where there's a natural gap. So I'm going to put one leaf in here. Bring another one at the top. I'll let you have a little look in a minute when I've got these leaves in. I might put another one down here. Oh, in you go. There we go. There we are. So how's that? I think that's really nice. It's sort of country, sort of rustic, sort of earthy. Yeah, it's really nice. Well, I think so. There you go. Hopefully you like that. Okay, so just for, we better have a sentiment. Can't have a card without a sentiment. So I've just got a little panel of Whisper White here, and there is a lovely sentiment in the stamp set that says thanks a bunch. So we'll assume that this is a thank you card. And I suppose the bunch is sort of a play on words with a bunch of flowers. So we'll just do that in black. Hopefully I've left a panel big enough. I'm going to actually cut this one out around the edge so the sentiment box follows the contours of the sentiment. I really like that. I did struggle with it to start with because it's a bit tricky to know how closely to stick to the sentiment, but it's actually, if you don't go too bad, you'll be fine. So I'll bring that one, come up there. And then around the top of the H, and I think the idea is just to stick as close to, but the same sort of distance from the letters the whole way around. So you get a gap around the edge, a space around the edge, which is the same all the way around. So I'm going to have to go head up again with this B, and then follow it around for this little flourish here. And then watch this flourish go around. I think this is a good thing to do with your sentiments if you don't want to cover over too much of your image. And that's what we want to achieve here. We want to see as much of that beautiful big sunflower as we possibly can. And then I'll just round off the end. Ooh. And back to the bottom. There we go. So we've cut that sentiment out, sort of following the contours of it around there. Actually, I might take just a tiny bit off that bottom. Just bear with me. Gone a little bit too far away. That's better. But you could put it on a normal sentiment rectangle if that's what you feel more comfortable doing. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to bring that in there and just pop it. So partly on our little sunflower, but not covering it over too much, and then over onto the edge. So I'm going to use dimensional, just where it's raised up. I want it raised up a little bit, so there'll be a dimensional at this end, and then a little bit of glue just at the end that's actually on the sunflower. And I'm just going to pop that there. There we go. Okay, so we need a little bit of bling. Doesn't care how earthy we're getting, we still need a little bit of bling. Hello Maureen, how are you? And Sue, thanks for joining me. So a little bit of bling never goes astray. So I'm just going to pop a couple of these small. So these are the Gilded Gems, and I have been using them so much. I'm going to have to buy some more, especially if we're going to be doing this card in my class. We're going to need some more gems. So I just like picking a little blank space that needs a bit of a lift. And you pop your gem on there. Just a little blank space. It doesn't have to be the same spot in different cards. It's totally fine. Just there. Just a little bit of colour there, a little bit of shine. Okay, how do we like that? I did actually have a ribbon on the original one, and I suppose you guys can choose whether you like it with or without ribbon. I've actually left it a little bit late to put the ribbon on this one, but actually I was never quite happy with it, so I think I'm actually happier without the ribbon, but you guys can choose. You type in the comments whether you prefer with the ribbon or without. But there we go. So anyway, I'm just going to pop the inside in. So this is their inside. What I thought I would do, I would bring our So Saffron in, because it's a lovely soft colour. Lovely soft yellow colour. So I've got our big beautiful, so Sharon likes it with. Oh, well, I'll keep in mind, Sharon, I know you're a ribbon lady now. So I've got my big beautiful sunflower here. Just pop him smack bang in the middle of our inner yellow. Without, Sally says without. Oh. Both ladies that I treasure their opinion. I don't know, I'm stuck in the middle now. Okay, and with the inside, so what have we got on the outside? Thanks a bunch. I would normally put something on the inside as well. So we've got thanks a bunch on the outside. There's nothing really there that's appropriate. What I might do is grab, and I'll just show you another stamp set that's really new. Bear with me for a minute. So this is the Forever Fern stamp set here, and this is the one I'm going to be featuring for my June class in the mail. So class by mail, if you like to check my Facebook page for that. And the sentiment that I'm using, and I've been using in everything, is to a friend that makes me smile. So that makes a lot of sense with the cover. Thanks a bunch to a friend who makes me smile. And let's face it, we all need friends that make us smile. We're very fortunate if we have them. So Hannah likes the ribbon. Yeah, I picked you as a ribbon girl, I think, Hannah. Anyway, so I would have normally put it on there, but I left it too late. I was too busy talking. So I'm going to say to a friend that makes me smile, and I'm just going to pop that in black just in the middle of my beautiful yellow sunflower there. So that's my inside. So I'm just going to glue that in, and that card without ribbon, slightly nude, is ready. There we go. Okay, so there we are. We have card number 1. So there we are. So with ribbon, without ribbon, but definitely with some bling and some beautiful happy sunflowers there. So hopefully you like that one. As I say, this card will be featured at my in-home class in the first week of June. So anyone who's watching who's coming to that, you'll get the chance to make that one. Okay, so the second card, as I say, I just sort of popped it together. That sounds really pompous, doesn't it? I made it earlier today while I was waiting to go live. And again, I'm featuring the Bumblebee cardstock, but I'm also bringing in this other new colour, which is called Just Jade. So this sort of beautiful blue-green colour is called Just Jade, and this little piece down here is a piece of designer series paper from the new catalogue called Flowers for Every Season. And basically, if you have a look at this designer series paper, it's 6 by 6 or 15 centimetres square. They have lots and lots of different flowers. So we've got our daisies and our sunflowers. We've got more daisies and some foliage. we've got, what's on the other side of this one? More daisies and sunflowers. That's the other side of that one. We've got some sort of blue flowers here and some fern and some poinsettias, which are ready for Christmas. So we're looking ahead there. What else have we got? This one's got some beautiful tulips and some other sort of pink flowers of nondescript, sort of some roses, beautiful yellow field. Yeah, so there's lots of lovely flowers there. So I have actually used one of the more background colours, background papers for this card. I've used this one here, this one with the Just Jade. Okay, so we'll give this one a go as well, if everyone wants to hang around, and we'll do the second card. So again, as I mentioned, I have a card base which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/4. This one opens this way. I didn't have any real reason for doing that. It's just that I had a piece of cardstock that was portrait rather than landscape, so I decided to not waste it, and I would use that for my card base this time. This one's actually folds the other way, so it just depends what you have lying around and what you sort of like. So what I will do is, what I've also got is another piece of bumblebee cardstock. This is about 1/8 of an inch smaller, so it's just goes on there with a tiny little border around. And I have actually popped this one through my favourite embossing folder, which is the Subtle 3D embossing folder. Now I don't know if you can see what that does in the light. It just gives it a really light sort of almost linen appeal. It's sort of just, yeah, it just really takes the plainness off the paper, and it is, as I say, one of my favourite embossing folders, just for something a little bit, to add a little bit of interest but not overwhelm your card. Then, using the stitched rectangles, I have cut a stitched rectangle with Just Jade and the same size stitched rectangle with the Designer Series paper. Now, if you don't have the stitched rectangles, I'll just give you the dimensions of that. That's 5.5 centimetres by 9. And I've really confused everyone now because I've switched from centimetres to inches, which is actually 3.5 inches by 2 1/8. Yeah, about 2 1/8. So I've got 2 of those, and basically I'm just going to be popping those on the front over the top of our little embossed panel. And then I have, and I didn't have a chance to actually colour them in, so you're going to have to watch me colour them in, I'm afraid. I've got 3 of the smaller sunflowers from the set. So these are just the small one that we used for the background in our previous card, but they're going to get centre stage this time. So I've got those, 3 of those that I have already stamped with black and die cut. So I'm going to have to colour those in, so just bear with me for a second. Get some colouring in happening. Just do it nice and quick, which you can with the blends. They're pretty forgiving. And as I said, you could use pencils, you could use watercolour pencils, you could use markers, just textures out of the kids' craft box at home, just as long as you've got a nice sort of brown and a nice yellow. But of course, I prefer you use blends, and you bought them from me. So there's the brown. Now the So Saffron. Now, anyone who's watching in Australia, I do have a little card making group that I have customers that join, and we have a card making party coming up very soon on the 31st of May, so that's 2 weeks today, and I have been sending out the kit to the participants and giving them out over the last couple of weeks. I don't know, the way the mail is at the moment, if you wanted to join now, we might be running it pretty fine to get them to you from Tassie. But if you'd like to join that group and come along to our party, I'm going to be making 2 cards. and the people who have received their kits will make them along with me, so we can have a little bit of a crafting together in a group. So that's really hoping that's going to go well. If you would like to come along to that, just let me know and I'll send you the details of the little group, and you can join us for that. Here we go. One to go. Sorry about this, I usually have most of my colouring in done. I really literally just finished making this card just as 3 o'clock ticked over, so didn't quite have time. Has everyone been doing lots of crafting while they've been in lockdown? I know I have, as I mentioned before. There we go, that's the yellow, just a little bit of green now with the old olive, and then we can finish this one off. Glad you can't see that one too quickly, I went way over the edge with that one, watching for my comments at the same time. Okay, thanks for sticking with me. I've got that one. Oh, one more to do. If you're watching replay, you can scroll through all that. Okay, so we've got our 3 little daisies done now. Daisies, I knew I was going to call them daisies. Sunflowers done. So let's pop this card together. Okay, so I'm just going to glue my embossed panel onto my card base. So we have sort of a bumblebee card base with a bumblebee embossed panel there, but I think that really works. It just sort of lifts the plainness of the yellow just a little bit. Hannah's saying she needs a sparkle to come back. I'll go in and start. Oh, yeah, it's a hard one, Hannah, isn't it? It's either you want to get in there but you can't, and it depends how you're feeling with everything else going on, I suppose, as to whether you get that, you know, that creativity, or you just sort of go through the motions. So okay, what I'm going to bring in is my Just Jade stitched rectangle. I'm just going to pop that on the top left hand corner, just the same distance top and side. It's about 1/2 inch or 1 centimetre away from the edge on both sides. Just firm that one down. Now I'm going to bring in my designer series paper, and my dog has decided it's nearly tea time, though it really isn't. She's still got an hour to wait till tea time, so she's going to bark. Okay, so I'm going to pop the designer series paper, the same sort of thing, in the bottom corner, but 1 centimetre from both edges, so that's there. So we've got a sort of an overlap in the middle there. Okay, so then I'm going to take my first daisy, and I'm just going to glue this one straight onto the card. So bear with me, I'm going to make sure I put it in the right position, just about there. So just towards the top right hand corner of that designer series paper panel, just pop that one there. Then what I've got here as well is I've got a nested stitched shape. I don't know what that is. It's a hexagon or something. Anyway, which I've got Know That You Are Loved, which is one of the sentiments from our stamp set. If I can find it. Here we go. Know That You Are Loved. So I've popped that in black just on a stitched nested box there. And I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals. My dimensionals are missing. Here, I've only got 3 dimensionals left. I might have to grab some more. Okay, so I'm going to pop a couple on the back there. And I'm going to pop this one so it just overlaps our original little sunflower there. So just in there, coming across to the right at about that level. And then our other two sunflowers, I've only got little small dimensionals handy, so I'm going to use the small dimensionals. So I'd normally use the large ones. I've got one large one left. Pop him on there. I'm going to bring those just up, so they just slightly overlap. So I'm going to have a dimensional on one end, like we did with the sentiment on the previous one, and then a touch of glue on the other. So I'm going to have one here coming up from the bottom, bottom right, left, yep, bottom left. So just one there. And so that's actually glued to the sentiment box and dimensionaled at the other end, so it's there. And another one I'm going to bring in from the top. So I'm going to pop a small dimensional, I might use two, only because I can't find my big ones. And then, as I say, a tiny bit of glue there on the sentiment box. And bring this one in from the top. There we go. How's that? I think that's quite sweet as well, isn't it? Yeah, I really like that. So we've got the three little sunflowers there in our dimension with our coming over our sentiment. And just with a bit of bling on this one, I've actually used the rhinestones, but I think actually it would be better with gold. So I'm going to use almost the last of my Gilded Gems here. So I'm going to pop two of them up here. Definitely going to have to buy some more of these. Two up here and two down. Oh, I've got my two Wendy's watching. Hey, Wendy Allen and Wendy Muckbridge. Thanks for joining me. I'm just about finished. You might have to catch up with the replay. Plus, I always put all my videos onto YouTube, so if you follow my YouTube channel, they'll pop up there as well, just for watching later on if you don't want to have to scroll through Facebook. There we go. Yeah, I think I prefer that with the gold. What do you guys think? We'll have another vote. Silver with the rhinestones or gold? I'm leaning towards the gold. Give everyone a bit of a chance to vote on that one. But yeah, anyway, so that's cool. On the inside of this one, I'm going to do a little bit more elaborate than my last one. I'm going to put a double panel on. So I've got a panel of the Just Jade, which is cut 1/4 of an inch. Hi Margie, yes, Margie's on my side. It's 1/4 of an inch smaller than the inside of our card. So I'm just going to pop that on. Hannah as well. There you go, Hannah, we agree. I'm going to pop that one on there. And then I have a Whisper White panel, which is 1/8 of an inch smaller than the Just Jade. And I'm going to pop that over there. So that brings a little bit of interest into our card as well. So our inside of our card is almost as pretty as the outside. Leave that in the back. Okay, you could also bring in some stamps. What will we do? I haven't done anything on this on the original one because, as I said, it was very, very, very recent. How about we bring in our So Saffron again? I'm nothing if I'm not consistent. And with the little one, we'll bring the little sunflower from the outside of our card onto our inside. There we go. There we are. No nude cards here today. Okay, so that's the second one. So there's the second one using the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. Which really, it is growing on me, it really is. So you sort of, I could tell to start with, as I mentioned, that it was going to be a big popular stamp set, and I think I actually are sort of coming to terms with it, which is quite good. Okay, so that's my two cards for today. We have the little small sunflowers here with their on their jade boxes, and we have the big beautiful sunflower there. Has the pièce de résistance on that first one. So hopefully if you've seen something you like here, you can take away these ideas and use them for yourself. If you live in Australia and you don't have an active demonstrator, please contact me, and I would be happy to help you place orders, and with anything you need to know about, you'd like to know about card making and Stampin' Up, please consider. It's a great time to join Stampin' Up. Well, it's always a great time to join Stampin' Up, but at the moment, especially because you get to order these wonderful products sooner than the general public or general customers. So yeah, it's a really really special time. So thanks so much for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and the rest of your week. And as I say, if you need to know anything or want to have just to chat about cards, please contact me and let me know. But anyway, thanks for joining me, and I will see you all during the week. Okay, thanks guys.